Okay, I'd like everyone now to stand for the pledge. Thank you. Clerk Frillo, do you have any announcements tonight?
Yes. The next upcoming road board of trustees meeting will be a work session meeting. That will begin at 5:00 p.m. on the 13th of May.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to call up Chief Owen and Officer John for Suffolk County Police and Code Enforcement's safety report. Usually we use a second podium, but we just get it right together tonight. Way to improvise.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Officer John Dubuque from the Suffolk County Police Department, 6th Precinct Coke Unit. Most of you might know me. I've been here, attended these meetings quite a few times. So I'm going to do what I normally do, and that's go over some stats for the time period of January 31st to February 28th, 2023, and compare that time period to 2024. So Port Jefferson Village saw a total number of calls for service in last time period, 271. Compared to this year, 240. For aggravated harassments go up by 1, and that aggravated harassment is still being investigated. Assault, state 0. Burglaries, state 0. Criminal mischiefs stayed at 3. Of those criminal mischiefs, all 3 are still under investigation. Harassments went down from 3 to 1, and that 1 harassment and arrest was made. Larcenies went from 4 to 5. Those larcenies, 3 of them were petty larcenies and 2 of them were grand larcenies. Those grand larcenies included a stolen vehicle, which has not been recovered yet, and theft of tools from the job site. That is also being investigated. The petty larcenies are still pending. 2 of them out of the 3 are still pending, and 1, the victim refused to press any criminal charges. Menacings stayed at 0 for both time periods, and robberies are also 0. So we saw a total number of criminal incidents go from 12 to 17. 80 cases went from 83 to 93 for our medical calls. Fatals went up from 0 to 1. And that was not a fatal overdose. Police information went up from 17 to 25, and disturbances stayed at 34 for both time periods. So we have a total number of non-criminal incidents. Last time period, 259, compared to this year, 282. Motor vehicle accidents are 13 for last year and 14 for this time. Total number of arrests, we had 6 for this month. Anybody have any questions regarding any of those stats, the data that I just presented? Anyone? Anybody have any question about anything else? Or would like to bring something up? Sir?
Mark Robinson, 27 Thorn Lane.
Mr. Robinson, can you come up to the podium and...
Mayor, I don't need this.
It's for all your fans at home.
Yeah, we're live streaming, so...
Mark Robinson, 27 Thorn Lane, Port Jefferson, New York. It's the box on North Country Road.
Okay,
At the end of Thorn Lane.
sure.
I don't think it's being policed enough. As a matter of fact, I don't think it has been policed.
Okay, I'll double check. I know it's not in the patrol check system right now. I did check that before I came here tonight, so I'll put that back in and make sure that our supervisors know that the officers should be getting out there and checking the box.
They had a perfect time to do it before they started construction on the apartment building.
Right.
They just could have pulled them over and put them in
In the parking lot. I agree.
and given them a ticket.
Okay, I'll make sure that we get that patrol check in, and I will notify the supervisors for patrol to take a look at it. Okay. Anybody else have anything? No, if I could just say a couple things. We are going to be, and when I mean we, the 6th Precinct Community Office and some patrol officers are going to be having a coffee with a cop event tomorrow at the AT&T store in Miller Place. So if anybody has time and would like to come out and join us, it's going to be 11:30 to 1 p.m. That's going to be at the AT&T store in Miller Place, coffee with a cop. And the 6th Precinct Community Meeting is Tuesday, March 12th at 7 p.m. at the 6th Precinct. If you have not been to a 6th Precinct Community Meeting, it is hosted by the inspector of the precinct, and he does do a review of everything that's happening within the 6th Precinct, kind of like what I just did tonight for Port Jeff Village. He does an overall for everything going on in the precinct, so you get a good idea of what's happening outside of here. If you're not signed up for Nixle, Nixle is the county's one-way text messaging service. We use it to put our events on there and other alerts for our meetings and whatnot. All you have to do is text your zip code to 888-777, and that will register you, and you should be receiving those one-way text messages. And if you have any non-emergency situations that you need police to respond, remember that number is 631-852-COPS. Okay? So, does anybody have anything else?
That AT&T store by Dunkin' Donuts?
Yes, sir.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sir. I just need your name if you're gonna speak.
Oh, question, Gary Zamek is my name.
Gary,
Zamek,
address,
119 Wilson Drive.
119.
Wilson
Thank you very
Drive.
much.
And that Dunkin' Donuts will be providing the coffee.
And the question was, the AT&T store, is the AT&T store next to Dunkin' Donuts in Miller Place?
That's right.
I
Okay.
should have got up and spoken.
And it is.
I apologize.
Anything else? Anyone?
Thank you,
All
Officer
right,
John.
sure. Anytime. Thank you.
All right, thank you,
All
Officer
right,
John.
sure. Anytime. Thank you.
Sometimes don't go away because sometimes.
Oh, hey, I'm
Okay,
sure.
Chief Owen says some things that
Yeah, of
you can
course.
help out with.
Questionable.
No.
Madam Mayor, Board of Trustees, residents, thanks, Officer John, much appreciated as always. The Code Bureau Enforcement Report for January. Past events we had was the Ice Festival. Again, another event in Port Jeff Village, no issues, no incidents. From what I understand, went off very well. As far as I'm concerned, I attended a meeting at Mather Hospital. Very informative to me. It was a hazard and vulnerability assessment. Basically, how Mather Hospital interacts with the village. If there's a major incident, as far as how prepared they are, how prepared we are, how we interact with Suffolk County PD, with EMS. Like I said, very informative meeting. It's a once-a-year meeting where they assess everything from soup to nuts. Everything, if the hospital has enough personnel, communication ability, if they have enough equipment, helipad, whatever they need. So, like I said, it was very informative and very, very fruitful to us as a village. Our recap incident report for January of 2024, a total of 51 reports were written. The majority of those reports were assistant aided cases, fallen trees, I'm sure we're going to get some tonight if we haven't already, noise complaints, and assist other agencies. And I've seen that on the rise lately where our officers are assisting Suffolk County PD, EMS, in traffic, and I like to see that, the agencies working hand in hand, working together with one another. And we all can learn from one another through that, and things I see run a lot smoother when we're working together. What else? Our summons recap for the month of January 2024, total summonses written were 161. Out of those summonses, the majority uninspected vehicles, vehicles not parked in a stall, no parking standing, and parking without a permit in our resident lot, which was 6. A total of 45 warnings were written for that time period, for the month of January. As far as location goes, the top 4 locations are the Salt Meadow parking lot, Main Street, East Main Street, and the Mariners lot, otherwise known as the Gap lot. And as I said last month, metered parking is suspended until the springtime. Once that date is given, we will put that out there. Our license plate reader survey for the month of January 2024, 112 passes through the Arden resident lot. PJ3, which is the vehicle that's equipped with the license plate reader, was in service 54 times for the month of January, and it's an average of 2 passes per shift. 6 summonses were written for parking without a permit in the Arden lot. We have 62% of our officers are trained in the PJ3 ALPR license plate reader. And with that, I'm going to invite up Chief Investigator Jim Mordaco with our fact report.
Good evening, Board. Good evening, Mayor. Last court date, we had 16 cases on the docket. 4 of them were FAT, which is quality of life. As I stated last time, the numbers have gone down with some of the incidents due to the cold weather, which gave us more of an opportunity to work with some of the store owners and work on a mapping area of reaching out to individuals that do own stores in the area. That so far has been very successful. I need to thank Chief Owen. He did raise a store owner that had a couple of incidents last summer that he was hesitant to bring up. We had went in, we had good conversations with him, and we're gonna add that to a patrol check. We're working our way up Main Street and into East Main Street, and we'll go around from there and work our way uptown. We've seen an increase in some other quality of life issues. We've documented everything. We're keeping track and communicating with all of that, just as we did last month. Thank you.
And as always, as I like to just remind everybody every month, we have our Facebook page out there, official Port Jeff Code Enforcement Bureau. People keep on signing up for that, which is good. We put out alerts. We put out an alert last night for the windy conditions today, just to be aware. Some people aren't aware, and a lot of people like to see that. If you need to contact us, 631-774-0066, or you can email me, aowen@portjeff.com. I answer all the emails personally. If you leave your phone number, I'll give you a call, and we can talk out whatever we need to talk about. For non-emergency issues, like Officer John mentioned, 631-852-COPS, 631-852-2677. And as always, I'd like to thank Suffolk County PD for being here and for all the hard work that they do. With that, anybody have any thoughts, questions, concerns about anything? Anything? There you go. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.
Chief, I have one question.
Yeah.
You talked about warnings before.
Yes.
Are you able to keep track of the warnings so that you don't give out warnings for like the same car 3 times?
Frequent flyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do that, yes. Yeah. And we, yes, we're
Be able to do that?
yes, absolutely. Good evening, get home safely. Thank you. Did you have something, sir? No? Okay.
Thank you, Chief Owen, Jim Mordaco, Officer John. Thank you very much. All right. Our next item on the agenda is to follow up a public hearing. Is that correct, Clerk Pearl?
Yes, thank you. We have a resolution to open public hearing regarding a proposed local law to override the 2% tax cap as established in General Municipal Law Section 3C, as it may be necessary to adopt a budget that requires a tax levy greater than the tax levy limit. May I have a motion to open that public hearing?
So moved.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Before we open this public hearing up for public comment and board comment, I'd like to ask Treasurer Gaka to give us sort of an update on the financials, to give us a sense of what we're talking about today.
Thank you, Mayor. Just to give an idea of what goes into, we start off with what are our expenses? What are our projected expenses? I've gone through both the general fund and the country fund, sitting down with all the department heads, numbers, everything that we have. I have preliminary tentative budget numbers. Based off of those numbers, and based off of the preliminary analysis of what the tax cap would be allowable, which we determined going to the state tax cap form. They have an online website, OSC, log in, you put in your numbers, your previous budget numbers, and it basically tells you what you can raise your taxes to. Based off of those numbers, the allowable tax growth is up to 7.417 million. Up to this year, total tax levy. Property tax, restoration tax, and state levy. Those three numbers comprise the levy that taxes. In conjunction with that, I also have done an estimate of our fund balance. Going through three funds, major funds, capital, general. General fund, I estimate our fund balance is going to be around $2.1 million at year-end close this year. That's based off of our current number and our projected future revenues and future expenses for the rest of the year. Our country club fund balance is going to be, I estimate, around $500,000 going into the next year. And that's with the change in the accounting practices and with the future revenues and expenses coming in. The capital fund is currently at negative $8.1 million in fund balance. Part of that is the outstanding bans that we have for the projects, including the ban issuance in 2020, the Oakland Road ban, and the East Beach Bluff ban that we have outstanding. When we convert those into bonds, those will eventually become revenue, which will decrease that negative amount in our fund balance. And we also have PKF O'Connor Davies looking at our capital spending and revenues over the last 7 years to try and figure out, is it accurate? Does any more accounting need to be done? Any more money need to be moved around to see if that number is accurate? All of that being said, I do not foresee, based off of the preliminary analysis of the tentative budget numbers and the fund balance, I do not foresee us going above that estimated proposed tax levy limit that the state allows.
Thank you for that information. Does anyone on the board have any questions for the treasurer or questions about the resolution and that we're looking at right now? Okay, I'd like to open it up for public questions and comment then.
Barbara Sabatino, 2 Westview Avenue, Port Chatham. This is not my field, so bear with me. Okay, so we're looking at raising, going over the 2% cap. That's what the public hearing is about, correct?
Ma'am, just real quick, it's not that we're looking to, it's just the resolution needs to be put in place if in fact we have to.
Okay.
You don't get to do the budget, you have a statutory time frame to do it, you don't get to do the budget, then go back in time to vote to pierce the tax cap, you have to do it prior to. So this is not in no way saying we're voting tonight to pierce it, it's giving the ability to the village board to pierce it if necessary.
That 7 million plus that we can go up to, that's before we get to that 2% increase? So that would be with the 2% increase?
So that number is a calculation on the current levy that we have for our fiscal year that we're in now. And it allows a growth rate factor that the state says you can grow to this number. You subtract out some pilot receivables, which are payment in lieu of taxes, and then it multiplies it by 2%. And it tells you that this is your maximum amount you can go up to, but staying within their prescribed tax cap law, the 2% tax cap. It's not always technically 2%, but it is, they have that factor in there on the website to tell you you can go up to this number. And that number for fiscal year 25 will be $7.417 million.
Okay, which I hate to say, it doesn't seem like a lot of money in today's terminologies and budgets. But we've had this type of public hearing multiple years. And it was always with the assurance that should the village have to exceed that 2%, it was a minute amount of money. You know, like you'll see your tax bill go up $1.50 or something like that. Is that what you're looking at, or you haven't done those figures yet?
We don't have those figures yet. We have to set on a determined amount based off of what the board and the mayor decide is the need to match our revenues, to match our expenses. So we don't have those numbers yet, but you know, that's certainly something that we can come up with during the tentative budget hearing for everybody.
Okay, and then my last question, I was going to bring it up later. In the resolutions, there was a resolution about the bid taxes, and are you looking to?
Ma'am, this is not general comment, this is public hearing on the tax cap period.
Yes, sir, but this gentleman had mentioned the bid taxes being part of this revenue. Would you like me to wait? Or can I ask my
How
question?
about this, finish your question and we'll decide.
Okay, so the question is are you looking to raise the bid tax as part of the budget?
The bid tax is historically a set number and rate, and that will be based off of the assessed value. I do not anticipate that number going up a
Okay,
lot.
thank you. Good? Thank you for your time.
Any other questions or comments? Yes. Mr. Robinson.
You need the whole thing again?
I've got you,
There are two cars, as I came down tonight, parked
On a local law.
I'll do that.
Look forward.
Thank you. Any other questions about the tax cap piercing issue? The piercing issue on piercing the tax cap. Okay, seeing none, we can close the public hearing?
Close the public portion of the public hearing.
Yes.
Okay. So we have a resolution to close the public portion of the public hearing regarding a proposed local law to override the 2% tax cap as established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Thank you.
Second? Do we have a second? Second?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Okay, Clerk Perillo, would you mind reading off the next resolution now?
Resolution adopting a proposed local law as attached to override the 2% tax cap as established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. May I have a motion?
Motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Let's have discussion first. Do we mind? Are we okay with this? So, before we vote, I just wanted to express appreciation to the treasurer for giving us an update on the current financials of the tentative budget, and just to sort of talk about my position on this before we vote, if anybody minds. I feel strongly committed that, under, as in my fiduciary responsibility as mayor, and working with the treasurer, that I am strongly committed to not piercing the tax cap. And we go out once a year with tax bills, and once you send out those tax bills, that's when you know whether or not you will be piercing the tax cap. You can't send out a second tax bill after that. Am I wrong?
No, you're correct.
Okay. So, again, taking this responsibility as the Commissioner of Budget and Finance very seriously, and committed not to pierce the tax cap. Having said that, Clerk Perla, would you please do a roll call on this vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Before you, can I just say something?
Sure.
Just keep in mind that piercing the tax cap is more of an insurance policy to make sure that, am I correct, Steve? Make sure that everything is, in case you get any last minute, I don't know, some sort of numbers that don't coincide. So if we don't pierce the tax cap, if we don't pierce the tax cap at this point, what does that mean?
So if we
We're stuck
don't,
at-
if we don't vote to pierce the tax, if the board doesn't decide to vote to pierce the tax cap, that just means that you can't then go above that $7.417 million number that the state prescribes. That is the absolute limit that you can put in your budget and bill out for taxes.
And the board can rescind that later on, right? I mean, I know in the past other boards have rescinded it. I don't know if it's
When you say it,
to pierce it.
if you don't pierce it, the resolution just.
Right, no, I'm saying if we do pierce it and then we find out that, no, everything's fine, we're not going above the 2%.
You're not voting to pierce it, you recognize that, right? You're voting, like you said, as insurance.
As insurance,
To
right.
give you the
Give us the opportunity.
Opportunity to, if you don't, there's nothing else that has to be done. If you choose not to vote to not pierce the tax cap, or give yourselves the ability to pierce the tax cap, and for whatever reason you have to, I'll let the treasurer answer, but I believe it has possibly significant liability, including losing some state funding.
So the state law says that if we were not to vote to pierce the tax cap, and then we presented a budget that then pierced it, the state would kick that budget back, and your tentative budget would then become your official budget document. That is what would happen. That is the exact ramifications. I believe you can rescind the local law if you pass it now and then decide to pull it back. But the ramification is the same. If you do that, you can't then raise taxes beyond the 7.417 that will be allowed for fiscal year 25.
Right, so, as Attorney Moran said, we're not voting now to pierce it, we're giving you the opportunity, the insurance, in case we need to pierce it.
Correct.
Once the budget's done.
Correct, you're voting to give yourself the option to pierce it.
Correct.
Be assured, if we do pierce it, we will be transparent about it.
Absolutely, that's committed to that.
Right, and this is obviously all prior to the board being able to have public, or really deep discussion as a board about the upcoming budget and all of this. And I also am very committed to making sure that we're being very fiscally responsible, as there's great uncertainties, with other tax sectors, other items that appear on residents' tax bills. So even as, myself as a resident and representing all other residents, just making, I think so. Is it? I can hear you. Yeah. Have a great night. Anyway, just reiterating that, I think most, if not all of us, are going to be looking at this budget very closely and trying to make sure that we are not piercing the tax cap.
Any other comments? Okay, roll call vote.
Trustee Casay?
Aye.
Trustee Laux? Trustee Biondo?
Aye.
Trustee Giuliano?
Aye.
Mayor?
No.
Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you. So as the board knows, and just a reminder to everyone that's here, we're taking a look at our agendas a little bit differently. Our format has changed a little bit. This is the really the Board of Trustees full meeting where we vote through agenda items and resolutions, and we reserve really our meeting on the second Wednesday of the month for full board reports and reports from our department heads. But that said, I wanted to, before we go into the public comment section, I'd just like to ask if any of the trustees have any quick updates or important messages they'd like to convey while we have a chance. Anyone?
No, just, we're prepared for being able to speak tonight, so, have nothing to report at the moment.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Laux?
Yes, I would just like to remind the residents that job applications are now open for the summer jobs that the Recreation Department offers. Lifeguards, counselors, junior camp counselors, and assistant tennis instructors. And I suggest if you have people that are interested that you get up to the village center or go on the website and get your applications in for these jobs. That's it.
Thank you.
Actually, one thing, the tree committee, I just wanted to report, is working very hard on taking steps towards making Port Jefferson Village a Tree City USA, and we'll be corresponding with the fellow board members and admin about potentially putting in a 100% grant for an Arbor Day celebration to plant another tree here in the village. So I just want to commend them for their work.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead, trustee.
At our last meeting, or at our work session, we discussed the bid proposal for the bid recommendation for the parking. Are we going to be able to discuss that at our next work session? Is that up?
Yes.
Put that on the agenda?
Sure. Or at any point in between.
Okay.
Okay.
I have one more, if I can.
Okay. There's only one apple.
Yeah, I attended a board meeting last night. I'm not sure how many of us in this room have ever taken the SAT exams. Probably a lot of us have. And I don't believe too many of us know what the average score is for a child who can get into college, but it is somewhere around 1050 to 1200. Our high school had two students, Eric Chen and Alfie Hogan, who scored 1600 on the school board on the SATs, and I think that's very commendable.
Perfect score, right?
Perfect score.
Congrats to them. Okay, now we're opening up for public comment, so if anyone would like to get up and...
Can I let Mrs. Robinson go first?
If he wants to go first.
Ladies first.
Oh, you're so sweet. Wrong side of two. Thank you. Okay, so, in the resolutions, there was one about one of the uptown businesses looking for payment in lieu of taxes for 17 parking spaces. And I'm not quite sure on the resolution, was I reading this is something you're going to consider, or was I reading this is something you decide upon, we're just going to vote?
In the agenda, there is a resolution that says, do you want to read that resolution out loud, Sylvia, so we know which one it is?
Number 18.
And Barbara, it's payment in lieu of parking.
Parking.
not
Oh,
payment
what
in
did
lieu of
I
tax.
say?
Payment in lieu of tax.
Highlight.
Yeah,
Yes,
taxes.
I
highlight.
would do better.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
So it's resolution number 18, resolution approving the attached payment in lieu of parking as recommended by the Village of Port Jefferson Planning Board for the property at 1515 Main Street, known as Earth Dog Inc., Suffolk County Tax Map Number 113020.001, Port Jefferson, New York 11777.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm a little stenotic tonight, that's really not answering my question. Is this something that you intend to vote upon now, or just discuss?
This is,
Go ahead.
I believe the discussion already took place at a previous publicly noticed meeting,
Okay,
and the information that was provided at that meeting, I'm sure the board has processed,
okay.
and the resolution is to either approve
Mhm.
or not approve the request of, or the recommendation of the planning board for a dollar amount in lieu of the necessary required parking.
Okay, thank you very much, that was very clear. I would like to encourage the board, should this pass, that money collected, remember the old diner uptown? Okay, that property has been empty for many years. It was condemned and the diner removed and the property's been empty. That perhaps that money should go to purchasing the property, which I know that's not, purchasing the property and adding parking uptown. One of the problems with Conifer is that they have retail space available, but there really is no public parking for the retail spaces. Plenty of parking for the people that live there, but over the years, the parking uptown has been taken away. All the parking spaces on the east side of Main Street were all taken away on that block. The circulation of the parking used to be when you came north across the railroad tracks, you could make a left-hand turn into that parking lot and then go on to Sheep Pasture Road. But the traffic has been reversed where you must exit that way. And the way that the parking is arranged is that you're forced to leave the village if you can't find a parking space. And I feel for the businesses up there, because if you're forced to leave, odds are you're not coming back. I had mentioned to another person who's looking for a retail space that might be great, because you already set up the retail space for a grease trap and for the fans if it was for food. And then the question came, what about parking? And I said, there is no parking. The only parking is really behind, over by the hills. And I just feel that's a little too far. So I would like to see monies collected for payment in lieu of parking used uptown. In the past, a lot of funds collected from uptown went downtown. And uptown's really never gonna revitalize if we keep doing that. Okay, so that's one. I already asked that question of you, and I guess that is it. So here's Mr. Robinson, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
When does the fiscal year end?
I'm sorry, say that again?
When does the fiscal
Oh,
year end?
May 31st.
As I was saying before, cars parked on the east side of Thorn Lane, they were there tonight when I came down. I thought there was an ordinance against parking within 100 feet of North Country Road.
Can you describe where you see them parked?
As you turn onto Thorn Lane, 2 car lengths, and then they're there. There's usually cars in that area within 100 feet all the time.
Any other information you have to share about that?
I don't know if they live in the big White House. Now I'm going back years ago, Thompson's house on the corner of Thorn and Mill Country Road. He used to park cars in the garage that's now boarded up.
So I would just advise, if, and in your travels, if you believe cars are parked illegally, to immediately contact our code and we'll get someone up there.
All right.
Thank you.
There's some on the west side too. I think they belong to the workers who are working on the park.
Noted.
And it's bad enough trying to get out at times. I'm retired and I can almost pick the time I want to leave, but sometimes I can't. And if it's hospital getting out time, forget it. And they're still barreling down that inside lane to beat the light at the corner of Chickasaw Road, North Country Road, and Main Street. There's got to be something done about that.
I heard Officer John note that too, so he heard you, we hear you.
I think it'd be great if you put a radar trap up on Chickasaw Road and just shoot it down North Country. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. First Myrna and then.
No. Thank you. You started.
Myrna Gordon, Rustic Road. Let me just get my notes here together. Can you hear me okay? I'd like to just talk to Mr. Moran for a moment, okay? At the February 14th.
He charges by the hour.
Not a problem.
Not enough, by the way.
Start your watch. Absolutely. At the February 14th work session meeting of the mayor and trustees, a resident spoke with you about an article published in our local paper. And it was the February 8th paper, of which my photograph, okay, was on the front page, and photographs that I had taken were also included in the front page. And your response to the headline was, "It is irresponsible." The headline was irresponsible and not understanding the total picture. Okay, those were your words that I heard on the videotape. You were all sitting up here and those were your words. So I'm looking at this picture and I'm trying to see what was so irresponsible of the title, Uncertain Future. Okay? Because there were no photos that were doctored. There were no photos that were photoshopped. The article was absolutely exceptionally covered by our local newspaper. There were facts, and I'm sure that they rechecked the facts. And I'm just trying to figure out what was irresponsible about this wonderful headline that is so important for our community to read about. As you know, most of you, we had an unbelievable article this past Monday in Newsday. Okay, Carl McGowan did it. And I have been following up with his June 2023 article in Newsday. And I was extremely aggressive with him to make sure that he follows up with that June 23rd article, and he did this Monday. And it was an excellent article, and he covered out all of the unknowns and what could possibly happen. He interviewed Mayor Shepro. There was a picture of you. There were unknowns that were stated in the article about the unknowns of the catering hall, the unknowns of the bluff, the unknowns about the future of the whole facility up there. And I understand that. So I'm just hoping that all of us in the community who are concerned about the media, I just want to take time just to talk to you about why it's so important that we get absolute clarity and a reliable flow of information from our community newspaper. What I know for sure is that newspapers in the United States are having a struggle financially. And the functions of a strong news operation are essential to a thriving democracy, where reliable reporting and informed commentary keeps people aware of the life in their community. One of the most compelling statistics about the importance of trustworthy news sources comes from a study that shows that people who closely follow the news actively participate in the life of their communities. Local news is an essential lever to a healthy democracy. It helps communities understand what's at stake in local elections, equips them to get involved in the political process by voting and contacting officials who run for office, and most importantly, it holds public officials accountable. So I just wanted to ask you why you felt that headline was irresponsible. You don't have to answer, because I know
I'll talk to you privately if you want.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, and I just want to say one thing on a real personal note. Most of you know that I'm a peace activist, and all of us are sitting in this beautiful, beautiful warm room right now, and thousands of miles away, people are being killed. And I just want, you may not know what this has to do with our community, but it's just important that I say this so that my community of peace activists and like-minded people know to just think about all of those people that are being killed, and that we need to stop our forever wars, and we need to get a ceasefire and stop the killing and have the hostages returned home. Thank you.
Thank you, Myrna.
Admiral Copley, 111 Tuttle Street. So I find myself to be the co-chair of the newly organized tree committee. As Rebecca was referring to, we are applying for an Urban Forestry Council grant to get us started. And as part of the grant application, we have to organize, or already have on the calendar, an Arbor Day celebration. So it's, we don't have one, so we're going to put one. So it needs to be in the spring. So the committee has decided that the Arbor Day program will be April 24th, 2024. We're going to plant a tree. And the other activities have yet to be nailed down, but this is a newly formed committee, and we only had 3 days to get this much detail. So I just want to make sure that all of you know that the 24th is a Wednesday. It'll be the evening, like around 5 o'clock, and it will be later by then. So it won't be a long program, obviously, but it'll be the first one. So we want to make sure we have a good showing. So I hope many of you will be able to be there. We'll invite a lot of other community members, Parks and Rec, Chamber of Commerce, Suwasset Garden Club, Historical Society, any scouting troops, Board of Education for the school district, and anyone else you think would be appropriate to be there.
Thank you. Yeah, so Avril and some of the other tree committee folks, as I was saying, have been putting this together. Once we have these details locked down, then as the liaison, I'm going to bring this to the board and our administration to check in and get approval for any submission before that happens. So.
Right, but we kind of had to put the cart before the horse because we had to have a date for the grant application. So that's kind of a weird phenomenon, but I just wanted to make sure you were all aware. Okay.
That's our board meeting day, the 24th.
Okay,
So-
we could move it early, it'll be
Board meeting
5-ish?
starts at 6.
Well, maybe it might be perfect.
So, yeah, but we'll continue to
Okay.
correspond, and
Okay.
then once, I'll check the global calendar here, and once you have sort of a draft, then I'll be sending it to, the mayor and the clerk, and, we'll firm everything up, and be excited to hopefully make an announcement on details at the March meetings.
Okay, terrific. Okay.
Is that Earth Week Day, something like that?
Every
too?
day is Earth
Okay.
Okay, so the grant application is due on March 7th, which is why we had to pick a date by month.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
I think Earth Day is that Friday, that last Friday of April, I think.
There's Earth Day and Arbor Day in there, so it's, all kidding aside, April is a, big Earth celebration. So, we'll look to firm up dates and hopefully have another exciting event.
Anyone else for public comment?
Bob Larrabee, 214 Maiden Lane. I guess from Earth Day back to Earth Dog parking. I noticed the letter from the planning department referenced that you would deem the amount adequate, including any additional inflation costs. Has the board considered those 6 years of construction cost inflation on the parking? Thank you.
Thank you for your question. Yes. Thank you for looking at the agenda before the meeting, by the way.
Arthur Epp, 206 East Main Street. I attended the last meeting of the Port Jefferson Village Civics Association, and I'm delighted to say that also in attendance were Mayor Shepro, Trustee Cassay, and Trustee Biondo. I think we need to celebrate the revival of the Civic Association because it's an important component of local culture. I think that Anna, our Civic Association president, has done an excellent job in reviving the entity, and she deserves to be commended. Being a citizen is a lot more than simply pulling a lever or casting a ballot once or twice a year. Being an active citizen entails making a commitment of time to delve into matters that are important to our community, to formulate an educated opinion, and to share that opinion. For those community members who have been inactive citizens, I think it's a great way to become an active citizen by attending a civic association meeting. I find the environment to be particularly welcoming, and it's a great place to find one's political voice. Before I finish, I think I'd be remiss if I didn't mention at the last meeting, words were said that made an indelible impression upon myself. For years, I've been aware that it would be nice if we could find a new location for our firehouse. After the recent meeting, I've changed that stance a bit, where I see it as a dire necessity. There should be no circumstance that is deemed acceptable where 3 feet of water can accumulate in our firehouse and we could think that's okay. We need to protect the people who protect us. To that end, I would like to finish by posing a rhetorical question. Wouldn't it be nice if one of the developers who has substantially profited by completing a project in Port Jefferson Village would use their professional wherewithal, their expertise in land use matters, spearhead the finding and acquisition of 2 acres of land for our new firehouse. Wouldn't it be nice, and wouldn't it be so utterly appropriate? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Thoughts, observations, questions? Just you reminded me, Mr. Ed, a shout out to the fire department for their heroic extinguishing of the fire on the corner of Thompson Street and East Main Street earlier this week, last week. It was a serious and dangerous situation, and the quick response really helped prevent any kind of injury or significant damage to the surrounding area outside of where the fire started. So thanks for that reminder, and just I wanted to publicly thank the fire department for all that they do, and all the surrounding fire departments and the EMS and all of our first responders. But thank you. So with no other public comment, should we then go on, Clerk Perrella, to move on to our action items?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. There will be an additional resolution, which will be known as Resolution Number 31-22824, and that will be a resolution approving the submission by the Village of Port Jefferson of the Town of Brookhaven Community Development Block Grant, known as CDBG, application in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for proposed senior program to be held at the Port Jefferson Village Center.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So with that, we'll move to Resolution Number 01-22824. Resolution approving the minutes of the January 31st, 2024 and February 14th, 2024 meetings of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution number 02-22824. Resolution approving the adoption of the attached proposed local law number 2 of 2024, amending Chapter 65, Parks and Recreation Advisory Council of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 03-22824. Resolution approving an increase in the annual salary of Assistant Labor Crew Leader Brian Rowe from $55,359.91 to $71,007.25, owing to the acquisition of substantial expertise in his area of employment, and further approving the civil service title of Labor Crew Leader for Brian Rowe, with the salary increase to be effective on February 29th, 2024. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 04-22824, resolution ratifying the hiring of Olatwine Kupulai, effective January 31st, 2024, at a rate of $16 per hour for the approved internship agreement between Stony Brook University and the Village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 05-22824, resolution accepting the resignation of Kevin Sullivan as a groundskeeper 1 for the Village of Port Jefferson Country Club, effective March 5th, 2024. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 06-22824, resolution approving the hiring of Be Ready Law Group LLP as special election counsel to Village Clerk Sylvia Carrillo for the upcoming village general election on June 18th, 2024, per the attached engagement letter, and authorizing Mayor Shepherd to sign the engagement letter between the Village of Port Jefferson and Be Ready Law Group LLC. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
We just, for the public's sake, since this is something new, hiring special election counsel, just an explanation of,
Did you want to talk about it? You're asking me about it, or
no, I'm just asking for
an explanation about it? So, election law is its own special category of law, and it could be perceived, we're trying to remove any appearance of conflict of interest in the running of the election. Speaking of which, I'll note also that the Board of Trustees recently received the recommendations from the Election Committee just this week to review and discuss at our next work session. So we appreciate that, the work of the Election Committee, that the task force, actually. It was about 6-7 months in work and meetings and preparation. So anyway, just a quick thank you for that. But, so we wanted to remove any appearance of conflict, perception of conflict, and have an independent counsel to respond to any questions that might come up about the election process or the election itself. And we thought there was a real benefit in the clerk being able to approach counsel that was not connected to the village board or the village board of trustees.
I can tell you, I don't know anybody at that firm. I only know them by reputation, and they are top flight.
Was that a B pun?
It is.
Oh, I didn't even realize it. Yes, it is.
BEE, be ready.
Exactly. There you
Their
go.
last names.
There you go. Thank you, thank you. Just wanted to have that discussion because it's something.
And full disclosure, I never worked with anybody from Be Ready before.
There you go.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 07-22824, resolution accepting with regret the resignation of Louis Bukowski as a member of the Village of Port Jefferson Planning Board effective February 15th, 2024. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I just want to thank Lou Bukowski for all of his service, years of service to the planning board.
I would second that. I've known Lou since he worked in county government and in economic development. And, he's a real pro, and his service is appreciated.
Yeah, he recently joined the planning board after years of service on the ZBA.
That's right.
And so he was on the planning board for about a year, so.
And thanks for the ZBA too.
Yep, ditto that. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 08-22824, resolution authorizing the solicitation of a request for proposals for the repair or replacement of roofs at specified village-owned locations, and directing Clerk Perillo to notice the request for proposals accordingly. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Discussion? Our roofs are leaking.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Did you want to say something, sir?
I just wanted to know if we've identified all the roofs. I just wanted
We've identified all of the roofs.
Resolution number 09-22824, resolution awarding the contract for the renovation of bunkers at the Port Jefferson Country Club to NMP Golf Construction Corp., the lowest bidder, at the bid price of $309,922.72, for the bid opening on February 15th, 2024. May I have a motion?
motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 10-22824, resolution authorizing the solicitation of a request for quotations for all sod, sand, and bluestone required for the renovation of bunkers at the Port Jefferson Country Club in conjunction with the contract award for the renovation of bunkers at the Port Jefferson Country Club. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Any discussion?
So who are we awarding it
Uh,
to? Oh, so it's
Authorizing
solicitation.
solicitation.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
It's a good question.
Resolution number 11-22824, resolution approving the attached intermunicipal agreement between the town of Brookhaven and the village of Port Jefferson for the provision of fire marshal services, and authorizing Mayor Shepherd to sign the intermunicipal agreement between the town of Brookhaven and the village of Port Jefferson. May I have a motion?
Make a motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 12-22824, resolution approving the attached resolution required by the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation for grant number 237642, related to the planning by the village of Port Jefferson of 6-acre park. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 13-22824, resolution ratifying the approval of the attached quotation submitted by Brian McCaffrey for the provision of administration services related to the village of Port Jefferson Stormwater Management Program. for an amount not to exceed $7,700 to be expensed from line item number A, 8140.4, storm sewers expenses. May I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 14-22824, resolution approving the attached proposal submitted by P.W. Grosser Consulting, Inc. in the amount of $11,500 for the provision of engineering support services at the Port Jefferson landfill, Port Jefferson Country Club, with the $11,500 to be expensed from purchase order number 2400013, which purchase order had a remaining balance of $12,153 as of February 9, 2024. And authorizing Mayor Shepherd to sign the proposal submitted by P.W. Grosser Consulting, Inc. May I have a motion?
Make the motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 15-22824, resolution approving the attached new managed services agreement submitted by Island Tech Services in the amount of $5,240.67 per month for network infrastructure management services, with the $5,240.67 per month to be expensed from line item number A, 1650.440, Central Communications Contractual, and authorizing Mayor Shepherd to sign the new managed services agreement submitted by Island Tech Services. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Resolution number 16-22824, resolution approving the attached tax certiorari settlement package as recommended by Assessor Paul D'Amato for petitioner 1618 Main Street, PJ LLC, regarding the property at 1610 Main Street, section block and lot 206, 21, 4, 36, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 17-22824, resolution approving the attached tax certiorari settlement package as recommended by Assessor Paul D'Amato for petitioner 1618 Main Street, LLC, regarding the properties at 1618 Main Street, section block and lot 206, 21, 4, 37, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 18-22824, resolution approving the attached payment in lieu of parking as recommended by the Village of Port Jefferson Planning Board for the property at 1515 Main Street, known as Earth Dog, Inc., Suffolk County Tax Map number 11-320.001, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Can we have discussion on this, please?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask Attorney Moran to kind of clarify and qualify this for us.
The village code sets forth what's called a payment in lieu of parking. If you can't meet your statutory parking requirement as set forth in the village code, you have the right to petition this board to make a one-time payment to basically buy that parking back from the village. And those costs vary depending on place and location. There's also other administrative remedies that I think that I would recommend be exhausted prior to this board being confronted with the ask of selling parking or payment in lieu of parking in the code. And then it would be to the Board of Zoning Appeals. Currently in the code, I've had some cursory meetings with Andy Freeling, the senior planner for the village, in reference to vesting that power in the planning board as well, since they're hearing this total application and their charge is a little different than set forth in the zoning board of appeals. But that's the current procedure in the code, Mayor, that if you don't meet your required parking, you have the right to come here and ask for a payment in lieu of parking. The issue being is it's hard not to be arbitrary and capricious when you're trying to set a dollar amount. And in the past, I know that a parking spot has gone for as much as $5,000 or so. And if you have a small business trying to do business in the village and coming in asking for 17 spots and we stay consistent, you're asking probably the more money they're gonna make in their first 3 or 4 years in operation on a for lack of a better term, mom and pop style business. I think personally, from a legal perspective, we should ask that they exhaust administrative remedies first before seeking that relief from this board, whether it be currently at the zoning board of appeals or possibly in the future if this board ratifies a code amendment at the planning board level.
I would tend to agree with that. I would be more comfortable tabling this, asking the planning board and or department to, tabling this and asking the planning board or department to look at these other options. As a small business owner, yes, the numbers, if you do the math on the $6,500 per space times 17, that's $110,000, which for a startup small business is crippling. But then to the point of one of our residents, if you do take into account inflation, $6,500 in 2018 becomes just over $8,000 in today's monies. And so then you're looking at essentially $110,000 to $137,000, and it's a lot of money. And we do want to see Uptown thrive. We do want to be sure that it has the facilities that it needs for parking. I know I've worked with fellow staff and board members to look and identify shared parking possibilities with private lots uptown, so that we're utilizing the pavement that's already there. But those are to be explored. So that's definitely something that we want to be keeping an eye on, so that we're inviting businesses and making it viable for businesses to be there. But I don't feel that asking $110,000 for pilot right now is appropriate.
Hearing you, Deputy Mayor, would just after conversations with the village clerk, I'm not sure tabling is the best idea. I would just vote to deny it, because there's nothing stopping them, if they do exhaust all their administrative remedies, to then again seek that relief from this board, possibly again in the future. Tabling it means we're going to have to carry it into the future, into maybe perpetuity or uncertainty as to when we'd have to then just dismiss it or vote it down.
Sure. And so is it possible with that denial to sort of send that note from the board saying, that they hopefully can seek other remedies?
That's what we just did.
Excellent.
But feel free when you vote on the motion to state that.
What do you think, Bob? Okay, so.
So I guess we have to vote on the motion that was made.
It's a roll call vote, and the way we'll do a roll call vote based on the verbiage in the motion was to approve.
Right.
So a nay would be to deny, and a yay would be to approve.
Okay. So Clerk Perillo, would you mind calling for a roll call vote?
Trustee Cassay?
Nay.
Trustee Lux?
Nay.
Trustee Giuliano?
No.
Trustee Biondo?
I just hope we can move this along. I know this business has been waiting a long time. So with the proviso, I'm gonna vote no, with the proviso that this can get going. I hope, and that they don't have to spend that much more money pushing this along.
Mayor?
No.
That fails 5-0. We now have resolution number 19-22824, resolution approving the event application submitted by Joel Posner on behalf of Hope House Ministries for the use of a portion of Harborfront Park in the Wayfair Room in the Village Center from 10 o'clock a.m. through 1 o'clock p.m. on March 16, 2024 for a Polar Plunge fundraiser. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 20-22824, resolution approving the event application submitted by Barbara Ransom on behalf of the Greater Port Jefferson Chamber of Commerce for the use of Harborfront Park and the Skipjack Room in the Village Center from 8 o'clock a.m. through 5:30 p.m. on September 14, 2024 for the annual Dragon Boat Race Festival. May I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Resolution number 21-22824, resolution approving the event application submitted by Barbara Ransom on behalf of the Greater Port Jefferson Chamber of Commerce for the use and closure of a portion of Main Street and the use and closure of a portion of East Broadway for the annual Easter parade, and also for the use of a portion of Harborfront Park for an egg hunt from 12 o'clock noon through 2 o'clock p.m. on March 31st, 2024. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 22-22824. Resolution declaring the Village of Port Jefferson Seawolf Country to further solidify the relationship between the Village of Port Jefferson and the faculty, employees, and students of Stony Brook University, and approving the placement of Seawolf banners on specified light poles designated by the Village of Port Jefferson, and adopting the attached corresponding proclamation. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 23-22824. Resolution declaring a surplus and no longer required for municipal purposes the following Department of Public Works and Parks Department vehicles: a 2002 Chevrolet Tahoe, a 2007 Pipe Hunter tow behind drain cleaner, a 2008 Spalding hot asphalt trailer, a 2008 Ford F-250, and 6 Big Belly solar trash compactors. May I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Clerk Perillo, can you confirm that we will be setting these items up for auction
Yes, Mayor.
following this? Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
You're welcome.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 24-22824. Resolution scheduling a public hearing for 6 o'clock p.m. on March 27, 2024 at Port Jefferson Village Hall, 121 West Broadway, Port Jefferson, New York, 11777, regarding a proposed local law creating Part 1, Administrative Legislation, Chapter 7, Budget and Finance Committee of the Code of the Village of Port Jefferson, and directing Clerk Perillo to notice the public hearing accordingly. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 25-22824. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to create a new general fund budget line for fiscal year 2024 and for each subsequent fiscal year, with the budget line titled Mayor's Disbursement to the Bid from Taxes, and to be known as line item number A 1210450. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 26-22824. Resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget amendment number 16, increasing revenues through line item number A 1028, Special Assessment Bid District, and increasing the corresponding expense through line item A 1210450, Mayor's Disbursement to the Bid from Taxes, and requesting that budget amendment number 16 be included as part of the formal meeting minutes of the February 28, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 27-22824, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to establish a capital fund reserve bank account for the purpose of properly recording finances related to beach restoration projects. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 28-22824, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to appropriate general fund reserves and perform attached budget amendment number 17 to fund the purchase of 4 new code department radios in the amount of $14,895.96 to be purchased pursuant to New York State OGS contract PT 68722, and requesting that budget amendment number 17 be included as part of the formal meeting minutes of the February 28, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 29-22824, resolution authorizing Treasurer Gafka to perform attached budget transfer number 1 to decrease appropriations in line item number A 5410, sidewalk expenses, by $4,000, and increase appropriations in line item A 711001, full-time parks, by $4,000, and requesting that budget transfer number 1 be included as part of the formal meeting minutes of the February 28, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Could you have a reminder of what this $4,000 transfer was?
This is relating to the previous resolution approving the salary increase for Brian Rowe. This is the prorated amount to get us through the rest of the year.
That's right, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 30-22824, resolution approving the check register and warrants. dated 2/23/2024, as presented by Treasurer Gapka, and as approved by Claims Auditor Goodwin. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 31-22824, resolution approving the submission by the Village of Port Jefferson of the Town of Brookhaven Community Development Block Grant, known as CDBG, application in an amount not to exceed $20,000 for a proposed senior program to be held at the Port Jefferson Village Center. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Resolution number 32-22824, resolution to enter into executive session at 7:23 PM to discuss pending litigation
Motion.
and, excuse me, my apologies, and the specific performance of a particular employee.
Motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Into executive session we go. We'll be back.
Thank you. We'll first close the executive session. Resolution number 3322824, to close the executive session portion of the February 28th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees at 8:33 PM. May I have a motion?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Resolution number 3422824, to close the February 28th, 2024 meeting of the Board of Trustees, also at 8:33 PM. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you and good night.